All right there, CJ Math students, I'm going to help you out with homework 2.2, adding integers with like and unlike signs. The directions say first label the type of problem, then using the number line to find the sum. Now remember, from class, there are two types. There are same sign, you add, and you keep the sign, otherwise known as SSAK. Yes, please write that down. And then there is different signs. Say different signs, subtract, and you keep the sign of the larger number, the one that has a bigger absolute value, not larger as like it's further to the right or left on the number line. This is called DSSL. All right, so for number one, notice I have a negative and a negative. That means they are the same sign, so that is SSAK. So I will add them and keep the sign. So 7 plus 3 is 10. Keep the sign, negative 10. Let's prove that on the number line. So first, they want me to move left 7 times, which I do, and I end up at negative 7. And then they want me to move another 3 times to the left, and that's how I end up at negative 10. All right, number 3, 8 plus negative 2. Notice I have a positive and I have a negative, so therefore I have different signs. So I write DS for different signs, SL. So that means I need to subtract them. 8 minus 2. I know it's so crazy because there's a plus sign there, but in your head you got to actually subtract. What's 8 minus 2? 8 minus 2 is 6. Now is it a positive 6 or negative 6? I have more positives, so therefore my answer is a positive 6. A. Let's prove it on the number line. Let's move right 8 times. End up at 8. And then I want to move left back from 8 2 times. 1, 2. And look what I end up on. My answer is 6. I would pause the video now if I were you, and I would do numbers 2 and 4 on your own to make sure that you understand them and have work just like I do. For the second section, I want you to label the type of problem and then find the sum without a number line. Okay, so let's do negative 21 plus 17. Notice how I have a negative and a positive, so therefore the type is different signs, subtract larger, DSSL. So I'll do 21 minus 17, which will give me 4. That's not my answer. The reason this is not my answer is because I have more negatives. Because I have more negatives, my answer is negative 4. Okay, just imagine me putting a whole bunch of negative signs and then a whole bunch of positive signs. I would be left over with 4 negative signs. Number 7. I have a negative 11 plus a negative 18. Do you see how they're both negative? Therefore, I have same signs. They are both negative, so I will add them and keep the sign. So I will simply do 11 plus 18, add them up. 1 plus 8 is 9, 1 plus 1 is 2, but this is not my answer because I need to keep the sign. So my answer is negative 29. These problems, SSAK, should be much easier than these problems. These you have to remember, oh man, I got to subtract even though there's a plus sign there. I got to say, okay, which one is got more negatives or more positives? That determines the sign of my answer. This one, my answer will always be just keep the sign. So in this case, it's always going to be negative. I just add them up and keep the sign. It's just like an addition problem. Number 9, negative 13 plus negative 18. Same signs. They're both negative, SSAK. So add them up and keep the sign. So I'll say 13 plus 18 should give me 31, but that's not my answer. Keep the sign. The negative matters. You got to be a surgeon with this, negative 31. If you're an individual that writes a small negative sign, I will often probably mark you wrong if you're writing something like this, right? That's too small. Make sure it's a clear negative sign, right? And all your answers, if your answer is negative. For instance, number 6, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to do an even. This is a DSSL, different sign, subtract larger. So I'll do 25 minus 12. My answer in this case happens to be positive 13. Why is my answer positive 13? Because there are more positives. There are 25 positives compared to 12 negatives. I need to keep the sign of the larger number. I have more positive. It's a larger number. It has a larger absolute value. That's why my answer stays positive. Number 11. Write the numbers in orders from highest to lowest temperature, so greatest to least. What is the farthest right of all these numbers? That would be 12. So 12 followed by 9, I can cross off when I do them. 4, 3, 0. Then what is it next? Is it negative 5 or negative 2? Well, if I move left from 0 on the number line, I'll get negative 1, then negative 2, then negative 5. All right? Place each of the following values in their proper position on the number line below. So let's go ahead and try and do these. We have this number line is divided up into basically kind of fourths and fifths and thirds. We know that 1/4 is probably the smallest of all of them, followed by 2/3, followed by 1/2, followed by 2/3. These numbers should look kind of familiar. 4/5 are large, but got to be aware of the signs. So where does 1/2 go on a number line? In between 0 and 1, halfway between. So it goes right there, 1/2. Where does, let's say, negative 2/3 go? Okay, it's going to be on the negative side in between 0 and negative 1. Is it going to be close to 0 or is it be closer to negative 1? Well, negative 2/3 is like negative 0.666, right? So closer to negative 1, not all the way negative 1, but closer to negative 1. You could almost envision an ST math problem, right? Where you move once, you move twice, right? A third time would be a whole, right? So once, twice, you'd put your little bar right there, right? Right. 1/4, imagine ST math again, moving your finger. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, right? So 1/4 would be 1/4 right there. 1/4, positive 1/4. Positive 4/5, all right? Imagine you had ST math problem where you had to divide this up into 5. So 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So 4/5 is right there. And lastly, negative 1/4, obviously process of elimination has to be right here. But just imagine ST math 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 4/4 would be right there. So, sorry, negative 4/4 would be right there. So negative 1/4 right here. Beautiful. Over to the back side. Remember, as you go left, the numbers decrease. As you go right, the numbers increase. So absolute value. Remember, absolute value is the distance from 0, and it's always positive. Distance from 0. That doesn't mean an answer can't be negative, but the absolute value of a number is positive. So absolute value of 6 is positive 6. 6 spaces from 0. The absolute value of negative 12 is positive 12, right? I'm going to help you out with 2 here. The absolute value of 15 is not negative 15. It is still positive 15. Okay, 15 spaces from 0. These ones get a little trickier down here. What's the absolute value of 4? Well, it's 4. What's the absolute value of 2? Well, it's 2. What is 4 minus 2? 2. That's your answer. What's the absolute value of negative 10? 10. What's the absolute value of negative 6? Positive 6. 10 minus 6 is 4. Okay. And 9 through 16, we're going to make less than, greater than, or equal to signs. So negative 18 is blank to negative 18. Well, that's easy. They're the same number. They're equal. What about 18 is blank to negative 18? They're not the same number. A positive number will always be greater than a negative number. Write that down. Positive, always greater than negative. All right, what about 13? Negative 120 and negative 95. Which one is further left? This guy is further from 0. He is further left. Because he is further left, he is smaller. So therefore, we point at the smaller and eat the bigger. Right? Negative 35 and 12. What did I just say? I said positives will always be greater than negatives, right? So boom, point at the smaller, eat the bigger, right? This is a positive number. This is negative. Negatives smaller than positives. Do you have this down? Yes, you should write this down. Will not accept your homework if you do not have this written down. Basic concept of these videos. Copy everything that you get down so you can absorb the knowledge. All right, lastly, number 17, order the integers from least to greatest. So smallest to greatest. Most negative to most positive. Right? That's what that's saying. So we have 12, negative 6, 20, negative 47, negative 11. What is the most negative number here? The least, the smallest. That's negative 47. A lot of people would put 47 over here because like, oh, 47, what's the biggest? No, it's a negative. The negative makes a big difference. All right? What's next? Okay, as I move left to the number line, right? I'm at a number line. Here's negative 47. I'm making my way back to 0. What pops up first? Negative 11 pops up first. Maybe not exactly right there, but negative 11. Now, as I continue to make my way through to 0, what pops up next? Negative 6 will pop up next. Boom, right there. All right, now I'm done with my negatives, right? Now I'm making my way onto the positive side. Okay, what would pop up first? Oh, okay, 12 would pop up first right there. And then obviously what's left over is 20. Okay? Think of a number line when you're trying to answer number 18. Give me a call if you have questions. Good luck.